Have you got a gag to open with?
Oh, I had one. I did.
How'd it do it? How'd you fucking do it? How'd that fly get... Oh,
I think you got it.
I got it. It's live on the podcast. We're leaving it in. That's the opening.
We have to set up as a fly, though.
And this is Who Would Watch This?
No.
Today we're talking about the Tom Cruise classic Cocktail. It currently has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 7%, an IMDb rating of 5.9, and a Letterboxd rating of 2.7. Is that high? Yes! It's Oscar, what's the plot?
Yeah, I'll give you the one line it's got.
Yeah.
A talented New York City bartender takes a job at a bar and falls in love.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's a harsh summary of a film that definitely isn't about anything.
No.
It rides the fine line of being extremely mainstream and mumblecore.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a weird, it's like a biopic of someone who shouldn't have a biopic made about them.
Such a funny way of putting it. It absolutely is, though. It's like, you want to know about the creator of Dreams and Cocktails?
No, I'm fine. Is that a famous bar? No.
No. It's Flanagan's Dreams and Cocktails, though.
Like The Founder, which is about McDonald's, which is the biggest thing in the world.
I love the idea that, like,
was an okay film.
We've got $20 million. We've got a great concept. It's about the person that founded Dreams and Cocktails.
What's that?
Oh, you've never heard of it? Give me the money.
And I'll tell you the story of why you should know it.
Why? Can you imagine that as a pitch of, like, why even let me pitch it to you? I'll just show you the completed product if you give me the money. And they're like, okay.
We got swindled again.
What's this? An hour 50 of Tom Cruise fucking women around the world? Oh, alright, Oscar. Before we jump into it, we jump the gun immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
Let's rewind to when our younger selves hadn't seen it and we're trying to guess who they thought would watch it.
Cocktail? Are we doing Cocktail?
Yes.
Yes?
We've got Cocktail for the last film of our romance month.
All I've heard about Cocktail is that it's
a lot of cock, not enough tail.
Stop it.
Am I right?
Stop it.
Am I right?
Stop it.
Oscar and I are flopping hands at one another.
It's very gay. But all I've heard about Cocktail is that it's just Tom Cruise working at a bar and there's a lot of gay subtext. That's all I've heard. I want to see if it's true.
I've seen it before.
Oh, yeah.
And I haven't seen it for a year and a bit. But I remember before I had watched it the first time.
Yeah.
I definitely thought it was about a whole movie set in Jamaica.
Okay.
So I was
Is Jamaica involved?
Sorry?
Is Jamaica involved? I thought it was just a bar. Is the bar in Jamaica?
Well, you'll find. I don't want to spoil it for you.
What a week.
But God, before I had watched it that year ago, who did I think the movie was for? I guess genuinely on the actual construction of the film, women.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was supposed to be a romantic film.
I love you marketing this. Like in the 80s, they're like, who would watch this?
Who the fuck did they market it to?
I don't know. Women. Have you seen? Have you seen The Outsiders? I think it's the first film Tom Cruise is ever in. I had to read the book in English and we watched the film, and it's like, oh, there's Tom Cruise. He used to be very unattractive, in the terms of the teeth department.
Oh, yep.
Yep.
Because he does have big teeth.
Yeah, and I think he has a middle tooth. He's got have you ever seen that?
Oh no.
His teeth were so messed up. They've rearranged it, but because they were so messed up, he only has one in the middle. You can see a picture.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So he's a freak. But yeah, so The Outsiders.
Hey, he's a freak for other reasons.
Oh, that's right. You know what? I shouldn't. It's too low. There's so many bigger issues with Tom Cruise. His appearance before he was famous wasn't nice. But yeah, no, he was not like he was like a crime guy. I don't know, because I think they filmed this pretty much very soon afterwards.
Well, so Risky Business is before this.
Okay, yeah.
And Risky Business was a big hit for him.
Yeah.
Risky Business is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I think this is done the same year as Top Gun.
Wild.
I want to just confirm that. My mistake, it was the year after Top Gun and the same year Rain Man came out.
Wild.
Yeah.
So it just has to be popular because like those two were massive films.
Yeah, so it was just coming off of such a popular movie. Like,
Yeah.
of course it was going to succeed. It was Tom Cruise.
So who would watch this? You think women? I think I was gonna say people that love The Outsiders and demanded that secondary character be making cocktails.
Using the information that I just took, I think it's got to be fans of Top Gun that went, not enough drinks. Not enough drinks.
Where's it set? America? Yeah. I need Jamaica now. Alright, Carl, that was wrong of us.
God, we were so naive.
So naive. Constantly we are outdoing ourselves naivety-wise every week. Just like,
Yeah.
God, we were so foolish back then, but
Oh,
now
we
we're
were so
wise
foolish.
omens that know.
I think like we're so young and prosperous before we've watched the film.
Yeah.
And then after we've done it, God, it's just like I've gained a camel toe. I don't know. How does aging work? Do I get one? I don't know where that gag came from. It makes no sense. All right.
And we're back into the film. Let's start off with a point that I wrote down, but now reading it again, was he in the army?
Right? I'm so glad you brought that up. I've got, why is he from the army? What does it matter?
Yeah.
Why are they harassing a bus?
Yeah, so it starts with them a Greyhound bus and these hoodlums are driving around like beeping like stop the
Reckless.
bus.
I remember watching it for the first time going, God, I hope that car just dies.
Yeah, I hope that's not our protagonist. And Tom Cruise sticks his head out the front, goes whoa! They stop the bus.
Yeah.
They're in army uniforms. Like, get on the bus, Tom. He's like, thanks, guys. And then the bus continues with the montage.
Here's the thing, if he's a military man, how'd you miss the fucking bus?
Oh, exactly.
He should be so
Up at
good.
5 a.m.
Yeah, he should be rearing to go.
That's why his classmates got rid of him. They were like, you sleep in.
I'm
And
convinced
that's
they-
the biggest war crime of this.
Kidnapped him out of the army. One of my friends thinks is that Tom Cruise's character's so unlikable through the movie that he was like, they must have just inserted him being an army person after test screenings to simply make him more likable to American
Because
audiences.
it is strange, because I think
They never reference it again.
No, and he's not in a uniform. Like, they're on a uniform. He's not in a uniform.
He's already in a suit.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, thanks for returning me from the army. Like, I only spent a day there because I didn't have a uniform. Who knew we had to bring our own clothes?
So I immediately got fired, and now off to be... So now he's off to... So that's the start of the film.
Yeah.
Let's restart the film again, because now he's on a
so
bus.
good. The intro music, though, is fucking pumping.
Oh, it's abusively
and
80s,
it's
isn't
just
it?
him, like, fucking rocking around, trying to get his bearings in the city. I love it, though, because if you paid admission price to come and see Tom Cruise behind the bar, you're going to get to see it in seconds. Immediately, he's behind the bar. Is he making cocktails? No, it's beer. What a twist.
Yeah, what a twist. He meets his uncle?
Sure.
Yeah? Is that who he was?
I think I only caught it at the end, and I went, was that a retcon?
I don't
They
know.
were like, watched the movie and went, hey, we didn't explain who that man is that he keeps
what I was
taking
thinking.
wisdom from.
But it's such shit wisdom.
Yeah.
I think... Okay, so we'll talk about... So it's in the 80s. The theme's like... The American... Well, not even the American dream. You can make money.
It's...
And it doesn't go, that's bad or good. It kind of just goes... Could go either way.
the American dream. It's the equivalent of like Zoe Deschanel putting up her arms and being like, the American dream. Who knows?
Who knows? You decide.
Had
'Cause
like Wall Street come out, so people were like into the concept of like being young and making money.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but here's the thing. It confused me so much. He's already behind the bar.
Yes.
Is this not a job?
No.
Then why is he behind the bar serving people?
I think he's his uncle. He used to serve the bar. I don't know why his uncle doesn't give him a job.
Right?
Like, he's like, alright, off into the real world to get a real job. He then goes...
Can you imagine he's like, okay, I'm off to go make my millions. Comes back as like, oh, how'd you go? Did you get your job? And he's like, yeah, I got a job at a bar. And he's like, this is a fucking bar. I could have given you a job. What, does the other bar have Bryan Brown? It better fucking have Bryan Brown.
Is that the weird guy that's sitting up at the bar?
Sorry? The one that owns Flanagan's or whatever it's
Oh,
called.
cool. You know
Bryan Brown.
You know his name?
Sorry?
I just knew his...
Oh, no, I just know the actor's name.
Okay.
Bryan Brown.
What's he in?
That's the Australian icon, Bryan Brown.
Oh, I did feel abusively Australian.
He's so Australian when he's like, is there a fucking fly in your quiche? What? That's not a comment. Imagine being like, oh god, well, what's that line? It's like you got your panties in a twist. Is it that? No, it can't be. Something about a fly and a meal. Have you got a fly in your quiche? Yes, that's right. It's an egg meal.
What a bad meal quiche is. If they got a
hate
pie
quiche.
crush, it's just fucking, let's crack 90 eggs in there,
I know,
see
right?
what happens.
Every time they're like, hey, were you after a pie? And you're like, yes, I was. And they're like, joke, it's 9 eggs. Oh.
The amount of protein that should be in quiche.
Oh,
My
God.
god.
It makes you sick,
It's
doesn't it?
disgusting.
He walks out of the bar, and in a moment when any other character would be looking over the city going, this will be mine, he stands behind a fence at eye level and looks over it and is like, maybe?
Yeah, he's
Maybe
like
this'll be mine.
sitting in garbage, like, I don't know, this garbage is quite friendly to me, quite inviting. Maybe I could... What's his motivation?
So, money.
Is that it?
He just wants money. Is this not the most poorly written character ever? It's to the extent that I thought if this... Like, for a long time I went, is the main character's name Cocktail? Like...
It's better characterization. Because he
It's like
wants...
the movie Ratatouille.
Isn't the rat called Ratatouille? Oh, it's
Oh
Rami.
no, it's Rami.
Oh, it's Frankenstein's Ratatouille. Okay, so Tom Cruise wants money. That's his only job, so he's like, well, I'm in New York, I'll go to Wall Street and become a banker. There's then like this
Such a thin plan. His plan is not even to apply for a job, but knock on doors and be like, job? And they're like, have you got any qualifications? And he's like, I'll see myself out.
Like, he keeps saying he's a fighter, but in these job interviews, like, I could learn.
I've never seen a man roll over so quickly. He's like, look, I'm a doer. And they're like, you're not right. And he's like, oh, fuck me. Like, it's immediate.
I'm tough on business. Really? No. I'm not.
I'm great at negotiating. Are you? No. Like the one of the things that threw me at this scene is it's like because it's a montage of
It's
him
so
getting
manic.
denied.
It's so manic.
But it's like the beginning of a musical number because
Yeah.
it's like
It's like a beat.
you're not ready for the job. You're not ready for the job.
Come back in 7 to 8 months. Just him.
Just waiting for him to like push out through 2 doors and be like, "Give me a job, New York."
But he doesn't. He pushes up one single door and goes, "You got job." Just so broken at this
No,
bar.
he walks. Here's the thing: after having the moxie to go to, I assume, every building in New York, he walks past a sign and opens the door and is like, "That sign for real?"
Do you think Tom Cruise can read in this movie? I don't think he can.
I'm convinced Tom Cruise can't read because he said yes to the script. Oh god! So we meet the most obtusely Australian man.
Oh
behind the
god,
bar.
you know what? I want to critique it, but he's pretty much every character flaw this character has is perfectly Australian. They really
Actually,
nailed it.
It just occurred to me, no wonder he fucking loves to talk about quiche. He cracks about 30 eggs throughout the movie into his drinks. He's like a caricature. It's like Brad Pitt in Oceans, who was like, I'm always going to be eating. He's like, my thing? Cracking eggs.
No,
Where are they going? I don't know. You should work that out, director.
What drink it's because it's like I don't know, it's like a Oh Bloody or something, but it's not like a Bloody Mary. It looks like red cordial.
Oh,
And like an egg
he's
crack.
making it in front of him, and he's like, so half a beer, red, and an egg. And Tom Cruise goes, this guy looks like he could teach me something.
I'm gonna follow him throughout my whole life.
If you did that in front of me right now, casually, I'd close the laptop, I'd pack up this microphone, and I'd walk away. I would walk away so
Come on,
quickly.
Carl, there's some leftover red. Come on, have a sip.
You haven't even finished all the red I bought.
What a carton of eggs. I'm just ready to crack them in.
Do you reckon he asked? When they were like, hey, so you just be making this cocktail? And he's like, what's in this? Am I drinking this?
The director went, you fucking dare.
He's like, it's the blood of all the actors that asked the same question before you. Now fucking drink it.
Are you familiar with this director?
No.
I've only seen one other film he's done. It's called, like, The Fastest Indian. Anthony.
Oh, the Anthony Hopkins one. It's
Yeah.
New Zealand film, is that one?
No, oh, maybe it's New Zealand. It's about a New Zealand
It's the one
man.
that's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I do know it. I haven't seen it. I know of
I
it.
remember seeing it. It's
Good.
I remember the last bit, but I'm sure there's a lot more plot. I watched it very young, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just on a motorbike, and one of the bits breaks in the motorbike. He's like, I'm gonna still speed it, and he dies.
But does he make a cocktail?
No, so it's a shit film. It's a pretty shit film.
Oh no. Why was it made?
I don't know. Some freak thought
Imagine making a movie not about a cocktail. Bizarre.
it has to have a cocktail or Tom Cruise in it.
I would love this movie to just have fucking Anthony Hopkins as the Tom Cruise character.
Oh god, do we think Tom Cruise makes a good decision in this film?
Ever? No.
Ever.
No.
No.
I've never seen a man self-sabotage himself every other 5 minutes. We'll get into it, but the lengths that he goes to ensure he's not happy is kind of insane. I also don't believe he reads as many books as have made his character
He's
think he
always
reads.
reading a book that's just like how to make $1 million now, and he's like, well, I've read all these. I should be successful.
I know. He's like, the fucking person that only made $9 from me buying this book should have the answer.
No. Okay, so he gets the job at the bar. The weird boss man, who's now treated as like a father figure,
Yep.
is like, you're gonna have a job, but it's gonna be stressful.
So they start kind of like doing the job.
Yeah.
Bryan Brown was he the only person behind the bar before Tom Cruise came along?
I think so, because...
How did he manage?
But, yeah, that's the thing. Like, during the day, I'm like, oh, it looks like kind of like a shitty dive bar.
Yeah.
But it looks like they've got, like, 100 people in this tiny little bar?
You think it's small, and then Tom Cruise starts sitting at tables throughout the movie that go far back, like it's a warehouse.
Yeah.
There's a part where a chef comes out and is like, time for you to go, Tom. And I was like, there's a fucking kitchen here?
There's, like, 4 waitresses.
Yeah. I was confused, because I thought Bryan Brown owned the bar. Does he not?
I don't think he owns the bar.
He controls the bar section?
I think he's, like, the man... Like, he's not like, the owner. He's just, like, the highest up there. But he still just is a bartender.
Weird.
I don't get the arrangement
I know.
because he's very poor.
Yeah.
Right? But
I don't know why he's poor, because it seems like he would spend all his money on alcohol, but he gets all the alcohol for free from at his work.
Well, the egg.
Oh, the eggs would fucking...
You
The
wouldn't
red!
know. Yeah, the red.
The red's very expensive.
That is melted down golden red. You wouldn't believe
It's
the
a
price.
red Ferrari, crushed, shredded and crushed up into liquid. God, anyway, so he has like a horrible first night, doesn't he, Tom Cruise?
He does.
He at one stage calls a woman a bitch.
She and not like in like a. She's like, hey, I needed a Jack and Coke, and he's like, why didn't you call it a rum and Coke, you bitch? So violently towards her.
Well, because I think wasn't she calling it something else before? And she's like, just put fucking rum and Coke in a glass.
She was calling it Jack and Coke.
Oh, okay.
Like such like a colloquial thing, and then like. The night's finished, she gives him the money.
Yeah.
And he's like, sorry for calling you a bitch. Kind of half-assly. She's like, I am a bitch. So immediately, like, forgiven.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Well, it's the beginning of what occurs throughout the whole movie, which is women turn around and go, you're awful. I forgive you. Should we fuck later? And that happens 4 times.
4 times in this 90-minute film.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? Yeah, she never shows up again.
No. Because after this, he's like, I don't think the fucking waiters like me very much, Bryan Brown. And he's like, wait till you give them crabs.
Oh,
What?
God, he was like, hey, what, you give a girl an STD, then she'll be mad at you.
Yeah.
And then the scene cuts, they're practicing how to make some drinks.
It's what I have this problem constantly. Bryan Brown keeps rhyming everything he says. Everything he's like, give a girl an STD for a day, keep her for a week, my heart, eh? Like, that's the way he speaks throughout the entire thing. I was
Carl,
like...
you know we, as Australians, speak in rhyming couplets when we're not doing this podcast.
He's like, there's a fucking law, keeps cracking eggs and being like, well, the law would say...
Oh, I missed the law, because it brings up, like, at the end of the film, it's, like, brought up 9 times. What was the law?
Sorry,
it seemed like it's, like, the most dickheady, like, hey, sometimes shit's kind of bad, and you gotta just do it.
He's always like, this person's law, you fuck women to get money. This person's law, money, who needs them, chase women. It's this, at the end it's just like, hey, that law, it's not a thing. Like, he based his whole fucking life around it.
So he goes into uni to study business, because all the
Yeah.
business people wanted stuff.
Yeah.
And then they mock his ideas.
Well, it's like, because he starts thriving in the bar industry.
Yes.
So he's tired every time he goes in, which causes him to, like, fall back in class. And before he ends up dropping out, don't forget that, Bryan Brown gives a 15-minute monologue on the name of the game is women. And then just kind of raps his words.
Wait.
Do you remember that?
Oh god, what the hell was that?
It wasn't like he rapped, but it was like him just being like, the name of the game is women. You gotta get the women to get the quimmen. Quimmen? Why not Quelsh?
Yes,
Welsh?
yes.
Gotta get the Telsh. Like, I was like, what are you doing, Bryan
Very hard
Brown?
to try quiche rhyming, isn't it? It's tough. I was about to say it, I went, fuck,
I'm,
quiche
I'm concerned he's on a protein overdose from all of the eggs.
OTing. You gotta sue me out.
I can only imagine that fucking Tom Cruise comes like, he's down on the ground in his own vomit and he's like, a full dozen? God. Rushed him into an ambulance, he's had a full dozen.
Fuck off.
They're like, he can't have just had a dozen. There's another empty dozen underneath his coat. And they're like, oh god, 2 dozen? I don't think your friend's gonna make it, Tom Cruise.
Could you imagine waking up in a pile of cartons? You're like, oh god, I've done it again. I gotta tell the kids I gotta go back to rehab.
The kids are like, Daddy, can we have omelets this morning? He just fucking starts crying.
Throwing up.
Throwing it up and scrambling it in front of them. He's like, here you go. It's tequila infused egg. Enjoy.
Is that red? No, that's my blood. Oh,
Let's talk about one of the famous things in the movie, which is the actual cocktail making.
I heard that. Where is it? Because it's not in the film.
It's at the part where the song Might As Well Face It, You're Addicted to Love plays about 9 times in a row.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you're addicted to love.
Oh, that's...
And then he's like, they make those simple cocktails.
Yeah, and
where
they
they're like,
slap the thing off ground.
I must say, though, it must have taken ages
Yeah,
get that synchronized.
They get a cocktail shaker, slam it on the ground, it bounces up into the other one's hand. That was... I'm not saying cool, but is that the famous part from this film?
It's the part where they do the synchron. That's the bit that everybody's like, you gotta love cocktail. And I'm like, we were at a bar recently where they did that better.
Yeah, so much better.
So much better.
No, they weren't Tom Cruise though, were they?
Oh god, they absolutely were not. I left that as a note. I was like, no tip, you're not Tom. Didn't even specify if it was Cruise. I want to keep him on his toes.
No, I'll never be Tom Hanks.
There's a part where Tom Cruise is late for class or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, I'm doing the best I can. And Bryan Brown is
what was up
sexual frustration. I was like, Bryan Brown's so horny. I've never seen a man so horny.
He goes, it's like such a calm scene. He's like, I'm angry at you. And now I'm not.
Bryan Brown's like, hey, you don't want to go to class with a full bottle of alcohol, do you? And he's like, oh, here's the bottle. And he's like, hey, also try not to be too late for your thing tonight. I know you have uni. And he's like, I'm doing the best I can.
Does Tom become an alcoholic?
For sure.
I think so. It doesn't really... It's such an easy thing to touch on.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you touch on the fact that everyone here's drunk for this cocktail stuff?
So just like another song, I'm really obsessed with Bryan Brown's character.
I'm wouldn't say a good character.
No.
But he's not well-rounded. He's so flawed in many ways, but I don't think the film's trying to show him as a good person.
No, they're not. One of my favourite lines of his is, a bartender is the aristocrat of the working class.
That's kind of deep if you think about it, Carl. Kinda.
Yeah, explain why it's deep then.
Well, when he was saying it, he was standing in a hole. Covered in dirt, because he's a dirty little peasant boy. He doesn't deserve to be... Yeah, no, because Okay, so have you looked up what this film was based on?
A bar called Cocktails and Dreams?
It was. No, apparently it's a biopic. Not even a biopic, just like... No, apparently... That works in a bar. And I think it's pretty
accurate?
No, biased towards working in a bar and like idolizing that kind of life.
Yeah, it's basically just like, God, the best outcome possible in life is the treasuring of alcohol and friends. Alcohol makes people so happy. Don't you want to make people happy?
Come on.
And I'm like, yeah, that's the first half of the night. Then after that, there's the mess, people being sad and depressed. The fact that you're like, hey, that guy I really like at the bar that keeps coming in, oh, he's been here every night. And he has a wife and kids. Oh.
At least Tom Cruise tried it. No, he's just trying to fuck me for a bet.
He is. Oh, God. Okay, so let's... But before we get too far
well, yeah,
into
I'm
it...
skipping ahead.
Let's get into the fact... Let's get...
Well, they get a promotion. There's a busy night. They're doing all their cocktail stuff. They get promoted. So they go to a very fancy bar.
They go to the Cell Block Bar, which
Yes.
I think in concept is a pretty cool looking bar.
I think so. It's like what's that Watchtower one with the light bulb in the middle? It's a jail cell. I won't try and complicate. I'm trying to sound smart because I love cocktails. Such a clever movie.
But it's one of those unrealistic bars where people yell for poetry. You know.
Oh, God, this made me angry. So, this man walks in. He's like, I am the first yuppie poet.
And people are like, poem.
You can't chant poem.
No, you can't.
This man just goes like...
He goes on and on. And I'm like, I wouldn't cheer to him.
No.
Can you imagine having a night out and somebody starts reading a poem? But so, what it does is it stirs Tom Cruise to do a poem.
What do we think about Tom's rapping career? Do we think it's going to take off? 28 years after the film's come out.
I'm convinced he was there and he was like, why has Will Smith got a rapping career and I don't? They're like, Tom, you can't rap. And he's like, I can poem. A poem is like rapping.
That's the white rap. And truly, isn't it pretty gangster?
Here's what he goes. Tom Cruise stands up. I am the world's last barman poet. I see America drinking the fabulous cocktails I make, getting stinky on what I stir and shake. I make things with juice and froth. I make drinks so sweet and snazzy. The orgasm, the death spasm. America, you're just devoted to every flavor I got. You wanna get loaded? Order a shot.
Which I hate because the last bit didn't rhyme.
Yeah, that's
How
what I
shit's
wrote
that?
down. I went,
How shit's that?
Imagine getting up and nearly nailing a rhyme.
Yeah. Because that's the only thing that's impressive about the whole thing. The rest of it's very weird. This then makes every woman in the bar swoon.
Oh, immediately. You just heard like the rush of water and somebody with a mop being like, is it all wet again? Like,
Who's been spilling cocktail? Oh, no.
A woman immediately saunters up to the bar and I was like, oh, Tom, I'd love an orgasm. And she's like, how many can you give? And he's like, as many as you want. And so begins...
the weirdest little subplot I've ever seen in a film. She goes, hey, can I take your picture for Bartender Weekly?
Yeah,
I don't know.
which definitely isn't a thing. It's like weird.
Who's reading this?
I know. It's probably just Bryan Brown. He's like, his ears popped up. Bartender Weekly. This is my moment.
Jesus Christ.
He walks over and wraps his arm around Tom Cruise
Yes.
and she's like, you're ugly and Australian. Get out.
Get out. Which is a fair enough assumption.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Exclude.
Not to my sweet Bryan Brown, though. I would like to explain why I like Bryan Brown.
Yeah, what have you seen Bryan Brown in?
Bryan Brown's in these two films that I loved as a kid called FX. Have you ever heard of these?
I've heard of this. The TV network, not FX. What's
So
FX?
you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this as a concept. It's so wild. I adore it. And they were successful films. They made two. Bryan Brown works as a special effects coordinator on movies.
Yeah.
Somebody devises a plan with him to go and give a scare to somebody and is like, come in, like, do this thing and pretend to shoot this person.
Yeah.
Gives him a loaded gun. He kills a man. So now he's been framed for murder and everybody's after him. And how does he get away? Using special effects.
Stop it.
They made two. One has an electronic clown that dances.
I've never...
They're available on Stan.
What are we doing right now? What are we doing right now?
We might review them for the podcast. Yes, they're well reviewed, but I don't care.
They're well reviewed.
Oh, no, but I love them.
Like a 5.7.
Yeah, they're sitting around your 60s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh god, what a double of a film. God, that's getting added to the schedule immediately.
Fair enough.
And this is why I love Bryan Brown, because I think my dad convinced me I like those movies until one day I stood up and said, Dad, I don't like FX.
I want to make cocktails and join the army and make $1 million.
It's like, hey, have you been watching Ratatouille again? Get that shit out of here. Remy's in your head.
He's on my head. He's on my head. Not in my head. He's on my head. All right.
So after, things are going well, Tom Cruise has fucked this girl and the sex scene's like a tickle fight.
Her name is... Oh, what? What was that? That
you ever laughed that much during sex?
Never. I've never laughed.
Period. I've never cracked a smile during sex.
It's a
I dare
waste
say
of time.
I hate it. I hate it.
No, but they're like... Tom Cruise... There's been some not allegations, just assumptions about what
his sexuality.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I don't think, as a result of this film, he ever had sex. Because they're kind of just tumbling and jumping and fighting and laughing. And then she's like, well, I've come 9 times. I guess we're done.
It's like, this is how it's done, right? And they're like, Tom, she's not even in the bed. You just fucked a sheet for 9 minutes. He's like, oh, no.
Why is it... Oh, that's where the red comes from.
So...
it's Tom Cruise. All right, Coral is like, wow, that was...
Is that her name?
Oh yeah, because they make the. This is why I don't like.
Oh, I actually have it written down.
Yeah, because they're like, what's her name? Coral. Wow, she's named after an object. I guess that makes women an object. And
I know, his observations are fucking wild.
They are at this point, I kind of realized, he's the secondary character.
Oh, he's never leaving.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Bryan Brown, we got a great character for you. What if you were sexist?
But
for how long? The whole film. Oh, what's my arc? Nah, you don't have one.
Do I learn anything? No.
You learn the confidence of suicide.
And truly, isn't that all anyone craves?
Isn't that what we're all in the biz for in the end?
Okay, so then, what's his name? Bryan. I've called him Doug in my notes. So, Doug Bryan Brown, dying down.
Like a clown
yes.
in FX2.
Tom, settle. It's too much poetry. Anyway.
I'm a poet, and I didn't even not aware.
He's quick, this one. All right, so Bryan Brown is like, man, that girl Coral is such a slut.
Is this during that awful basketball scene?
Yes! Tom Cruise, I don't know why they make so many bets with each other, but they go to this basketball court.
Oh my god.
Start shooting hoops.
They don't know how to shoot.
They
just pass aggressively at one another.
Tom does poetry, doesn't know how to shoot a basketball.
I'm absolutely convinced he went to his agent after and went, look, I don't know how to have sex, do poetry, or throw a basketball. You need me out of this fucking movie.
Can you make a cocktail? You know I can, Diane.
You know I can make a fucking cocktail. God, it's my name!
But yeah, so then Doug makes a bet while they're shooting balls, and then also there's a... Is there a bet, or does this Doug say, I could fuck her? I could fuck Coral.
He's like, she starts to... Oh, okay, hang on. This is where you begin to be like, Bryan doesn't seem like a nice guy.
No, he seems like a pretty fucking awful...
Basically,
who knew? The clues weren't there.
I know. Everything was laid out in front of me and I didn't take the bait till this very moment when he's like, Coral, that's an object. Women.
Okay, so
So I think it's he bets that $50 that Coral won't be in another relationship within a Coral will have slept with somebody else in a week.
Yes.
Right? So imagine making a $50 bet about this, right? Like such a ridiculous story. No, I'm gonna get it out. I'll get it out.
How often do they use this betting motif just to move the plot around?
Might as well just have been called bets. Bad bets.
Go on, say it.
All right, so Bryan Brown's like, hey, I bet you $50 that she will be with another man within a week.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to, they're back at the new bar.
Yeah.
She walks up, starts making out with Bryan Brown, and Bryan Brown turns around and is like, I mean, I had to get my $50 back. What?
I like that they did it off screen because Bryan Brown is like a 55-year-old.
He's old.
He's old
He's
and
old.
withered.
Yeah.
And I don't think Coral would have jumped at the action. I don't know what cocktails in this universe in New York does to women and men, but it seems like it's like the rock star of being a rock star.
Yeah.
It's insane, isn't it?
It's like they've got permanent fame.
Yeah.
I've never been to a bar where people standing around the bartenders just being like, oh yeah, make me a fucking drink, you slut. But that's what it's like.
It's pretty much that. They all know him by name as well.
Yeah. Anyway, his way out of this is he's like, hey, everybody knows, first thing about law, that I'll fuck a woman for $50.
I think that's pretty much quote.
it.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise rightfully punches him and quits.
Punch them, quit, and that's it.
And then we fade in
I cannot believe this happened.
on the best song ever written. What's the
3,
song?
2, 1.
Jamaica,
Bahama. Ooh, I wanna. I can't believe that we can sing this evening.
We go to the Kokomo. Should we go again?
No, because I don't know the lyrics. I thought you could sing along with me. 3 years have passed. Did you realize that? I didn't realize it till 5 minutes after they'd said 3 years has passed.
Well, I remember because it's 30 minutes in the movie. The first time I watched this, I was just like, so was that a prelogue?
Yeah.
What's the plot
that?
about to start now? Did we need this? Thoughts? Did we actually need this?
I mean, you can't see that because once you start taking out bits you don't need, you suddenly get just the last scene was I guess we made a bar. And that's all you... Not even that.
Oh, God. So we're in Jamaica now.
Yeah. I can't believe we're saying that.
He's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Apparently, he can make $400 to $500 American dollars a day in Jamaica on bartending.
Yeah, because there's no tax there.
Oh, okay.
No, not I don't know Jamaican tax law. Just that's what they say.
Clearly, very well versed in it.
Tom, working behind the bar, meets a new woman named Jordan.
Sure.
Yep.
This is where I want to. This is actually where I want to pause and chat for a sec.
Okay.
So far, what's the genre of this film? Is it meant to be a comedy?
I think there's a scene later on that tells you it's not really a comedy because it doesn't really deserve to it's not like a dramatic comedy.
A dramedy, if you will.
So I don't think it's a comedy. Because has there been a joke?
Well, this is why I wrote, because there was I was like, well, we're supposed to be finding Bryan Brown funny. And then there was a part where this woman's passed out because of champagne and is like, don't worry, they're going to give you a shot. And she's like, I don't know if I want another shot. And he's like, it's not that kind of shot. And then
he says, you're going to throw up. She's like, I don't want to throw up. Oh, I'm going to throw up.
Right?
Yeah, so I guess it's a
but it's not a romance, because I was like, I don't want him to fall in love.
I think it's I think mumblecore. We've nailed it. I think they invented
imagine a mumblecore movie going to Jamaica for the middle of it. Imagine.
I think it was before mumblecore. It was mumblecore 90s, or was it a little bit?
Imagine if in the middle of Clerks they were like, I think I'm going to open up a store in Jamaica.
I think it could work.
And they just went to Jamaica for half the film.
I don't think it breaks the rules of mumblecore. They would make it. This director was
Mumblecore it's low budget, mostly dialogue, naturalistic, and I think it's supposed to be.
What part of this is not naturalistic to you, Carl? Tom Cruise makes some cocktails, goes to Jamaica, and ruins lives. That's pretty realistic in my
I
head.
know, he's pretty good. He's like, I'm gonna wreck everything that stands in my way.
To get to a goal which, quite frankly, could have been achieved with just like 5 years hard work.
Yeah. So anyway, he's having a great time with this girl.
Yep.
Somebody saunters in from the crowd.
And Tom Cruise says to his old friend, "Stop molesting the customers."
Does he? Holy shit. Did not pick up on that.
Oh, you didn't pick up that? I
No.
sat up. Like, whoa. I don't know if the word molesting's changed.
Imagine if you're fucking standing at a bar, your friend comes over and they're like, stay away from this rapist. Like, how did he find him? How did Bryan Brown
I
find
have
him?
no clue. Jamaica's so large.
So large. He must have been like, literally the plane landed and he went, hey, I'm looking for a bar and they went, Tom Cruise? Cocktail? Are you looking for cocktail?
Oh, you're gonna love Cocktail. He's right over there, right next to the airport. He
Literally,
never left.
They were like, follow the gaze of my finger, and there he is.
Okay, so
I have a big issue with one of the things that happens here.
there's so many issues, but go on.
So
What's your big issue? What's your big issue?
Bryan Brown has a wife now, a rich wife,
Wrong. Yes.
and he's like high and mighty about, I married rich, I'm clearly a hustler and better than you, Tom
Yeah.
Cruise. He's then like, wife, come over here.
Mm.
She's so far away. How'd she hear him?
Yeah, I think are they looking through binoculars? And
That's
one
what it
thing-
looks like.
It's that kind of
It's
effect.
got like a black smudging
Yeah.
around it to make it look like it's narrowed. Like she's so far away. So far away.
And she, okay, I don't know what they're trying to say with this. Okay, this wife doesn't really care about him. She flirts with other men.
Yeah.
I don't really get what's going on.
No.
I'm a bit confused.
Neither do
Who's
I.
the villain?
Sorry? Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's right. Sorry,
He's
my
his own
mistake.
villain. His need for wealth is a villain? I think they get to a point. So basically, him and Elizabeth Shue are having fun, having
Yeah.
sex. They're having a gay old time down in
Yeah.
Jamaica.
They ride horses. I was going to ask you what happened there.
Do they?
Yeah, it was a montage of riding horses. I had no clue where that came from.
You watched the same film?
I've got the quote. Ask Carl how we got here. Do you know what the horses was? There was a scene where they were riding horses. I'm not
Do you
joking.
reckon he just whistled and they came?
I don't know.
It's happened a few times to me.
Oh, it does always. We're always on the night out having a cocktail.
Anytime I'm like, hey, and a fucking horse runs over and is like, well, where is it?
In perfect English.
In a British accent. Well, where is it? Actually, speaking of British people, major tangent. I was at the beach the other day
Yeah.
with a mate, and we had our little section where our towels were. And then these two young, like 12-year-old, 13-year-old British girls come over. Basically set up an inch away from our towels on a big beach.
Ooh.
So already just kind of like, get out of our space.
Yeah.
COVID, etc.
Yeah.
And they just started bickering and arguing. Like, don't put your fucking sand on me, Samantha. And then the other one went, Samantha, you're such a witch.
Are they both called Samantha?
So,
Those English weird.
but like you're such a witch is my favorite insult to call somebody now. And I haven't stopped calling people it for all week.
Because you'd be so thrown.
I
if
was
called
thrown.
out.
Absolutely. And her pronunciation, you're such a witch.
It really like is back of the throat. Like,
It's visceral.
yeah.
So they packed up and left, and I was like, oh, they've changed my life forever, apparently.
Who were they?
Who I was like, turning to my friend, I was like, did you see them? Or was it only me that saw them?
It was an illusion, Carl.
And he was like, Carl, you're such a witch.
You've had so many cocktails.
God, so anyway, they're having a good time, and he's with Elizabeth Shue, and this is where I was like trying to be like, is this what the theme of the movie's about?
That's what I was trying to
or
figure
do we
out.
think it's the same conversation in terms
Is
of
they sitting down?
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise is like, oh man, I really wanted to like be successful, but then, you know, I took my job at a bar so I could work during the day. But then I'm so tired, so now I'm just barely getting like an inch of sleep during the day. And that bit was, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting point.
Because then they also start talking about kind of like they start picking up things around you that it's like, isn't it crazy that somebody has made this?
Yeah.
And they're profiting off of it. Like this guy thought mini umbrellas, and now he sells 10 million mini umbrellas around the world every year, sort of thing. He's like, why can't we think of something so mundane that like we profit off of?
Which is then immediately undercut with them fucking under a waterfall. And really kind of took away the power of the messages they were so about.
I don't know if the messages had much power.
No, they had nothing, but compared to this film, the bar, I was like, oh.
Again, I'm convinced the director was like, Tom, she's not even in the waterfall yet. Stop fucking the water.
Oh god, it was a bit... I was upset. I was really upset. They shouldn't have done that.
Shall we get to the next bet?
Yes.
That's right. If you've never seen this movie, you must be listening and being like, another bet!
There's like 5 montages, 5 bets.
A lot of bets. A lot of montages.
A lot of cocktail scenes, which you'd hope.
Yeah, so what's this new bet?
Okay, so, what do you keep calling him? Brian Brown.
Brian Brown. We're pausing the podcast and we're going to go watch FX right now.
We're going to do it right now. 3, 2,
FX.
And we're back. Oh, you fucking... Ugh. Brian Brown's sitting around the bar, and he's pretty much like, you would never go for the rich women. You wouldn't do that. I bet you $50 you wouldn't. Fuck her. And Tom Cruise is like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
He's got a good thing going with a girl he likes and is immediately like, $50.
$50. And my ego could not be... Well, la-di-da.
He's basically got a jar sitting next to him filled with, I want to say, conservatively, $930,000.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, another 50.
To ruin the thing I've loved and cherished. Well,
only one thing's gone right for me in the last 3 years. Is this woman. You've shown up. You've bet me and me. It's like our group whenever we odds someone.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's like, don't ruin my life for an odds.
We're having a great night. And then someone's like, Oscar, odds you eat a cigarette. And then the night is defined by me eating a cigarette. And it's upsetting.
Well, also, just don't say the same number.
Oh, that's good.
You're trying to mimic the other guy the entire time. You're like, 7. We won.
Shit. So what does he do, Carl? What does Tom Cruise do?
He successfully fucks her.
Yes.
But how does he woo her? Well, she pulls out a cigarette.
Yes.
And he
oh my God.
lights a match and flicks it to her, and it goes to her and stands up at the edge of the table.
I gave the film an extra star for this. That literally was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Because I know it wasn't CGI.
Oh, no. Apparently he improv'd it on the day.
You're joking.
No, yeah, I am.
I was so ready to be on board with Tom Cruise's nuts.
He said that's the power of Scientology.
I'm signing up.
Yeah. Just fucking flicking matches everywhere.
Oh, this is great.
Somebody better use it before it burns down to the bottom. What's that, gasoline?
I would tell you I went to a Scientology church.
So? No.
I did the test. Have you ever done the, do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
It's terrifying.
I've seen the Louis Theroux documentary.
Yeah, so you walk in, it's like a museum, but like a postmodern museum. And they sit you down and make you do like this massive test, like 200 questions. I had like 2 hours to kill, so I went in with a friend. And it's like pretty chill, pretty like you know, do you like yourself? Like how are you with family and friends? Like stuff like it's a bit like that. One of them was would you be happy if you saw an animal die? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be murdered. But then they pretty much go for your test results and then neg you for an hour, going, well, you have low self-confidence, and you should. Let's fix that. It's pretty much like self-help, but like bullying self-help into you. It's really weird. I'm sure at the top level, it's like a proper cult, but at the bottom level, it's just sort of like shitty self-help paid.
I feel like I remember your friend that you went with
yes.
talking about this.
Yes.
And I think she wasn't a good candidate, but you were.
Oh, I was a great candidate. They were like, you started a podcast? Oh yeah, you'll be very easy. But she was, she's very, whatever. She's like, I'll do anything. So then the test came back, they're like, wow, you're a really well-rounded person. I don't think this is for you. And they were like, oh, hold on, Oscar. You come back here. Let's talk.
I would have loved it if they pulled out her test and they were like, she's the one.
It pretty much was, because it gives you like a graph and hers were all at the top. And I had like some dipped and stuff. It's pretty insane.
Wild. God, they're such predators, aren't they?
They really are.
It's such a disgusting religion.
I feel like it wasn't a religion at the bottom. It felt like it was just like shitty self-help.
Yeah.
And then it feels like the more you get up, then it's like a proper religion.
Because on this stage, we don't have to go into
We won't go to Scientology.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So now he's fucked the third girl in less than an hour.
Yep. God, he has. Oh, God, he's a bad person.
All he does is fuck women. So they kind of hit it off and he's like, I'm going to leave Jamaica with you because you have money.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Shue's been like, I saw you fuck that woman for a bet, so fuck you.
I'm going back to New York.
So
and
she
Tom Cruise
yeets.
is a little bit bummed.
He is nearly inconvenienced by this. Not but he's nearly there.
He's like, I could work up to being disgruntled.
Yeah. He basically was like, oh no. Beer. Oh, money. More pussy.
Oh my God, what can I do with this?
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know. I gotta make a cocktail.
There's a part where he's making cocktails in like his off day and he's like, these are going to be delicious. And I'm like, stop, relax.
Have a drink. Oh no.
Relax on your off day. Yeah, no, he's an alcoholic.
He's a big alcoholic.
So, should we talk about how he adapts into her rich lifestyle?
What is this subplot? It goes for about, 8 minutes.
Oh, probably less.
It's so strange. So he's like, all right, off with this rich lady. They go to her apartment. I think she's like, get me a drink. And he's like,
he wakes up, she's doing like
aerobics.
aerobics.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, is this what life is?
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you fucking just flew in? What are you upset about?
So upset. And she's like, oh, hey, we're going to go to like an art, expedition. Expedition. Nice. And he's like, this is the worst life for me. This is the worst.
He's walking around, he's drunk.
Yeah, he's drunk. Day one.
Seconds into the relationship,
Yeah.
it seems. He's like, oh, is this how the rich live?
Do I really want this life of being rich? Maybe not. He then, a sculptor,
Yeah.
is like, hey, I'm talking to your girlfriend. And Tom Cruise is like, fuck you, just punches him.
He goes, I wrote it down, he's at an art gallery, he pushes the artist and says, you're ugly.
Yeah.
Like a child would. He then beats the shit out of him.
Oh my God, he throws him against his sculpture.
Yeah,
And
breaks everything. And he goes outside, he's like bleeding or whatever from getting a punch. And you're like, God, she is going to fucking leave him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And she walks out and she's like,
I can still get you that job. Dad can still get you that job.
we could fix this together.
And he looks like he's about to beat her. Just like...
He fucking goes to hit her. Our protagonist goes to hit her. Do we think this is from PTSD in the army?
No. No, because you know damn well that was a rewrite to make him look even more sympathetic, which I don't think works, because now you're right.
So she slaps him, he goes to hit her, then she starts begging him to stay. He's very toxic. So after they're all broken up and everything, what does he decide to do? Go and harass Elizabeth Shue at work.
I think, bad person. He somehow tracks down her. And does he? Is it when he goes to
he goes to the cafe.
Yeah.
And the two characters that have the most interesting plot line shot.
Oh, so interesting.
They have the world at their feet. Oscar, they've got theatre tickets.
They've got theatre tickets and they're here in this shitty diner. They're like,
why are they there? They've
waitress,
got theatre tickets.
We've got theatre tickets. We need dinner now.
She's like, I'm talking to this abusive dick over here. Do you mind? She's like, but the theatre.
The theatre.
We have to go to the theatre.
Anyway, Tom Cruise is like, hey, I made a mistake, but I did make $50, so I guess we're both wrong.
She's like, God, I'm going to throw so much food over them, over like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So she walks out the back to grab the food. Meanwhile, the two people still have not got their food.
Still haven't got their
They
food.
have to go to the theater soon.
But I don't know about you, Carl, but they're pretty chuffed when Tom Cruise gets food over them. Because really, isn't that a bit of theatre?
Isn't that what we're all here for? I was like, is it supposed to be funny when he's like, I wouldn't get the specials or something like that to them, and they're like, what was their reaction? They were like, do you think we like comedy? We need to see the fucking theatre.
I don't know how this fits in, but there's a shot of the busboy.
Yeah, smiling.
Just smiling, and I was like, gross.
You know
Who let
why?
that in? Why?
He's got theatre tickets.
Oh.
He's going to the theatre right after this shift.
We all go to the theatre. Let's get out of here.
Actually, no, he didn't have theatre tickets, but he just saw a little bit of theatre for free.
Oh, he's making money.
Oh, God.
God,
I just wrote a lot about these people need to go to the theatre.
They really need to go to the theatre.
So he doesn't take a hint. He doesn't take a hint, so he stands outside waiting for her shift to finish,
What?
then pretends to be blind when she comes out, and it's like, I don't want any part of this.
He then defends himself, but also is just sort of like, it was a bet, but like, hey, bets mean something. That's what fellas do.
It's crazy. He tries to explain it. He explains he needed to win a bet. He sounds crazy. Like, who could possibly understand him? A guy lays down a dare, you have to take it?
Insane. A bad person.
No, they don't.
Jordan's pregnant, Carl.
Oh, fuck. Before we discuss the fact that, God, the movie is all over the place. Your chair is fucked.
It is loud,
Let's
isn't
discuss the fact that you have a squeaky chair. Yeah, so anyway, let's talk about her giant apartment. She's a waitress in New York City. It's 2 levels.
it? Yeah.
It's got about 9 rooms in it.
Carl. But you have yet to... This is why the movie's clever. Because she actually is rich.
Rich! Oh.
But she doesn't tell people that because she wants people to find out if they love her for her.
Yeah, God. So anyway, we find out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
He's not supportive.
Oh, so bad. He's just like, is it mine? You've been whoring around.
But he might as well just be pushing her.
Yeah.
Like, it's mine. He's like, you're like that fucking artist. You're ugly. Why is everybody in this city ugly?
Yuck, I want to push you.
So he goes back to the bar from the beginning of the film that I didn't think would come back and is like, can I have some advice? And I'm like...
It's been 4 years, not a letter.
The uncle's like, I had hoped you were dead. God, you're back looking for my useless... You know what I think?
Garbage advice, isn't it? He only gets garbage.
Yeah, go on, what's the advice?
I mean, I'll give it from the start. He's like, don't follow your dreams. It's probably good for Tom Cruise. But this one is,
It's, she doesn't care about you don't care about her, and you don't care about the baby. You might as well bail.
Oh, that's right. Awful. Then again, the other, what's his name? Oh, he's like one Barry B. Benson. What's his name? Barry,
Manilow?
No,
Who?
wait, his name's Doug in the film. Your fella, your mate.
Bryan Brown.
There we go.
Barry B. Benson. Idiot.
Bryan Brown's advice was like, one day you wake up with kids and a wife and you want to kill yourself.
Bryan Brown's going through the marriage story right now, and Tom Cruise doesn't care. Oh, God. So he gets this awful advice.
Yeah. How do we...
He doesn't care about her. He cheated on her for a bit. It's like, are we supposed to feel bad for him?
No, he's a bad person.
He's a bad guy.
And then, are we now at Brian's...
No, we go to the luxury apartment. We go to the penthouse.
Yes. Tom then goes back to Jordan's apartment,
Yeah.
which is very wealthy.
Giantly wealthy.
And the father does not disapproves.
The father does not disapprove.
I double negative, it works. So the father approves.
In conclusion, the father approves. The father disapproves.
Yes.
And I don't know if you noticed, but it really annoyed me in this scene. There's like a very full bowl of licorice all sorts on the table.
What the hell was going on there?
Right?
I guess we're not
it's
rich.
so prominent.
We're not rich though. Licorice. I do remember those being the. I don't think they're anymore.
I hate them.
I hate them.
They're
But I
gross.
remember wealthy, like my grandma's friends were very, not wealthy, but they'd bring them out like, look at this, kids. Yeah, wealth.
Yeah.
Have one, they're hideous, but...
He's like, see this? This is an expensive bowl filled of candy nobody likes. That's how much money I have.
How upsetting are they? I actually just remember, they're so upsetting.
Somebody-
they look fantastic. They're the best looking lolly.
They look great. They were like, hey, imagine if we just put lots and lots of colours in a cube, but it all just tasted like licorice. Oh, and the texture? No, it's not licorice. It's fucking foam.
Oh, everything about it makes me want to eat 40 of them. The taste.
I've been burned by them so often.
So often.
I'm like, every other Christmas, I'm like, I think I'm mature enough to have a licorice all sort again, Mum. I have one, I spit it out at her. Right, and I'm like, it still tastes like licorice.
You've ruined how many Christmases?
All of them. From when I was born to now.
You've ruined all sorts.
Jokes, I'd never get invited back. I've just ruined other people's Christmases.
Just do what Tom Cruise does and keeps inserting himself into their lives until they marry him.
The dad's respectfully like, Tom, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't want you in the family.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to go get a check. You hang right here. Tom's left alone with the bowl. Should he have taken a licorice all sort?
As we discussed, no. They taste like shit. So
he comes back. He's got a check for $10,000. Where does he place it? Next to the licorice all sorts. Obsessed I was.
He rips it up, like very like tastefully, like I don't even need your money, and then very kindly places it on a table, just like I don't want to make a mess.
So he goes and sees Bryan Brown. We haven't seen Bryan Brown since Jamaica.
Yes.
Bryan Brown goes up to him and goes, "My best friend, my only friend in the world." How sad is that?
So sad, and I thought if this film becomes slightly sad, I'm gonna be furious, because at this point it'd been just kind of weird.
Laugh after laugh in the comedy of the year.
Could you imagine that in big letters? The comedy of the year.
The funniest film about drinks and suicide you'll ever see.
Isn't that drinking one that's just come out?
Oh yeah, another round.
Yeah.
What is another round but a remake of Cocktail?
It's funny and depressing and about cocktails, baby.
Oh god, if Tom Cruise was just played by Mads Mikkelsen, it would have been fine. Oh god. So
anyway, so Brad is
Bryan Brown.
Oh, what? All my notes are Doug. So I'll go from Doug.
Oh no, you shouldn't let me lead. Because I only establish characters by the actor's name.
I went on IMDb and found out his name because I didn't know it.
You should have written down Bryan Brown. From now on, you know to write down Bryan Brown.
Anyway,
it'll be much easier when he plays FX in the movie FX when we review the film.
When we watching that? Now.
Oh, quick, turn this off.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up real quick. He's
miserable.
But he looks successful.
Oh, he looks great.
Truly, he's not.
He's poor,
He's
actually.
In debt?
Yeah.
I think.
And he tells them this on his multi-million-dollar boat.
Yeah. He's like, I wanted the newspapers to say bartender to billionaire.
But all they said was Bryan Brown to beer.
B-B-B-C. The better BBBC.
Tom Cruise is like, let me rework this scene with my poetry. Bryan Brown, Big Bear Baby.
Bryan Brown, a big fat clown.
Nailed him. You nailed him.
You know what also nailed him? That bottle in his neck that he killed himself on.
Yeah, he comes back. He comes back. Literally, he would have had to crawl down, see Bryan Brown dead on the table.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into the suicide, Tom Cruise and his wife almost fuck, then they don't.
Yeah,
back to the suicide.
No, it's almost the big conundrum of the movie.
Yeah.
Is to show that he's grown, I guess. He's like, I don't fuck my best friend's wife unless I've been bet $50. I'm sorry.
And also a bit of alcohol in me.
Would he have turned around in a heartbeat if she was like, I bet you $50 if you fuck me right now? And he would have been like, a man's got to take a bet when a man lays down a bet.
He's not a man, though. It's like the Lord of the Rings thing. It's like, I'm no man.
You...
What's it called? The fact that for this character arc to be a good one, he would have had been a place where he would have fucked his best friend's wife. For us to go, wow, he won't do that anymore.
I know, instead he's just the guy that made out with his best friend's wife the night of his suicide.
So, pretty good person. Yeah, he goes back and he's committed suicide.
He goes back, he's committed suicide. Tom Cruise finds this out by walking over to the body and touching the blood and going, it's definitely blood. Help. Is this the red drink he was having? Imagine if there was a misdirect and he'd just fallen asleep with his red drink. He wakes up. It's the yolk that gives it that thick consistency.
I work in FX.
It's the same character.
That's how he made his billions.
So Tom Cruise, have you ever heard of a little thing in the show business called special effects? Well, for us insiders, we found the F letter and the X letter. Put them together, what does it sound like? It sounds like FX.
Oh, is that why? That's clever. That's clever. I like that. All right. So, Tom Cruise reads the suicide note.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
He says in the note the only thing in his life he will cherish was their conversations.
They had such terrible conversations. Let's rewind to one of them. I'm doing the best I can. Well, you're sexually frustrated, Tom. God, I'll remember that conversation forever.
Remember that one time you told me that, you got those women an STD and that would be mad at them? I guess we did cherish some good moments, didn't we?
It annoyed me because one of the things he wrote was, there is no law, but I guess you knew that already. And then they show the letter and I went, where's the ha 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 written down?
Tom insinuated.
No, I'm fucking sick of it. If they're going to give the letter personality by having the person that's written it read it out, then it should have the specific inflections on it. No, I'm getting fucking nerdy about it. This is what it should have read as. The law was never real, but I guess you should have figured that out by now. Bryan. It should just be fucking flatly read.
You're such a witch.
You're such a witch!
But
after he reads this letter, he goes back to her apartment.
Yep.
And this woman ducks her head out and she's not there.
Yep.
And I thought for a giant moment, I went, he's gonna fuck her too, isn't he?
He is.
I was like, is this the next hurdle? He's like, oh, the neighbor shit.
That's right, another hole. I didn't think I could...
It's like, God, I wish I kept that check and fucked you. Alright, I'm gonna go, but if things go awry in my relationship, no, I'm coming back for you.
They get married.
Well, no, there's a giant fight brawl up in the building.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So the dad, the butler, and the doorman have all congregated upstairs.
Yeah, and the doorman's the most violent.
It's because he's Irish.
Oh, is it? I wrote down he should use this situation to grab a licorice while he can.
The butler's so hungry. He's not had a little sweetie for so long.
My whole life I've been so poor. All I ever wanted was a licorice of sort. And then the dad comes over and swacks it out of his hand and he's like, no!
Go fight Tom Cruise!
That's only if you can win in a battle against Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise beats up pretty much everyone, I think.
He throws a punch at the dad, throws one at
I make cocktails in my downtime. Listen to me and watch me. Like, it's such a weird ending. It's just like... have a girl, I'm gonna sperm. If I have a boy, yeah, doy. And then just like having twins.
And he's like, do you realise how ridiculous I look now? Alright guys, okay. Twins, you know I'm in with the lens. Kins, that's what you do when you die. With my Jane Doe at.
You know,
John Hancock.
I'm so glad we broke down these rhyming bits beforehand. Made sure they worked really well. And
You don't want to put it You know he can't have sex when you play basketball with boys and
He's a poem. Cocktail poem.
That's a $10 poem, so...
Okay, back to the real question. What was this? What's the message? Who's who? What's what? Is it don't chase money?
Yeah. Chase love. But... I feel like the messages don't fucking work in a bar.
No.
Or don't befriend Bryan Brown.
Or don't open a business at the end, which is sole
I think his
purpose.
business will fail. Dreams and Cocktails is a fucking terrible... I would not go to a place called Dreams
Well,
and
it's
Cocktails.
made up by Bryan, like on a drunk afternoon. He's like, I drew this drawer. And
He holds it up and he's like, imagine it in pink and neon. And Tom Cruise is like, that sounds great. And I repulsed away from the screen and curled up like a spider that's just been sprayed.
God, it's just so... Yeah, but I guess it's the 80s. So back then it was like, man, money's the sickest. So even for a film to kind of critique it, was like, it's still cool.
Yeah.
You guys got to have a bit of money.
Like,
Come on.
politicism back then was just, they didn't know, it was just wealth.
Yeah.
That's all they had. Really. But they were like, if you're not wealthy, are you anything? And,
Yeah.
and that was just done in so many films, over and over and over again, until somebody went, excuse me, racism? And they went, oh, you've opened it up.
Oh my god.
Oh,
my god.
Somebody then went, the LGBT community. Oh!
A24, what are you doing here? Alright, you can have all of them.
They're like, we're going to create such good films, but they'll only be in a square aspect ratio and black and white.
Who would watch this?
God, I think the movie's mildly popular. Like, it's
That's-
famous, right?
It's really famous.
So, clearly there's actually an audience. So, instead of doing a gag answer, I want to try and figure out an audience.
A gag answer? We've been doing...
Oh god, if you're a fan of the word tail and your tails in the game of Sonic, you'll love this. It's my real answer. Oscar, over to you. No. No. Let's figure it out. Who do you reckon this is actually for?
Well, I mean, it came out. You're right. It came out.
It definitely came out. We saw it.
Tom Cruise. No, so
He hasn't come out.
he has not come out. Well, it came out with Top Gun, Risky Business, and like Rain. So Tom Cruise was like at the top of his. I say top of his game, but he had like 4 top of his games. He constantly keeps topping it.
He had like a run where he made 8 films in a row that grossed over like $100 million worldwide. Didn't for Magnolia, and then did another 10 or something like that.
Or didn't do it for Max and Magnolia.
Like
didn't.
Magnolia didn't do 100 million, and that broke his streak. That one time he won an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
And then he fucking crushed it again for
Yeah.
like 10. Like, think about, it's been a while since he made him. Like, I think Rock of Ages was maybe the last one that didn't gross over 100 million. Maybe it did.
Which
I
one was
don't
the
know.
one with Denzel Washington or Jamie Foxx?
Oh,
A limo
Collateral.
driver. Apparently that's
I
fantastic.
love Collateral.
Did that make a lot of money? I don't think that made a lot of money.
No, it did okay.
It did okay.
It did over 100 million.
Oh, nice.
What's it called? That's a great film.
Yeah.
Michael Mann directed that.
Oh, nice.
The guy that did Heat.
Nice.
It's so good. And he's a villain, and he's a good villain. And
He,
it's
like,
fun
he's-
to see him as a villain.
He's like, yeah, he's like blonde hair. Or is he shaved? What is he?
He's got like, he's got like blonde grey hair and like this grey suit. And it's just do you know the plot of the film?
Yeah, he's like a limo driver, but he's also kind of like negging him the whole time. Like, you gotta like, you're trying to set up for a limo, but you're not gonna be. He's like, he's a hitman.
Yeah.
He's making him drive around.
Yeah, it's a very and it's just set over a night as he has to do like 7 hits. and as forcing Jamie Foxx to like drive in everywhere.
Very cool.
And it has like it's great. Love Collateral.
But yeah, so Tom Cruise.
I guess for love is a collateral.
I guess, but I guess do people just get swept up in the it's a big film we all watched? I guess it's a classic.
Well, I think it's just got to be like marketed surely for women in terms of he had sex appeal back then, and I feel like the stigma around cocktails back in the 80s was only women drink them.
Yeah.
So I can. It's like, what if he made them?
But men don't. But yeah, he doesn't drink them. So it's not like breaking that. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised at. I wasn't surprised at actually, I was surprised at both scores. Rotten Tomatoes, all the critic scores are disgustingly low, and the IMDb scores are like 6.
Yeah, the Letterboxd thing is like 2.7. Most people are like giving it a 3.
I feel like Letterboxd though, there's a lot of in there, but just like this film's nuts. It's 5 stars.
It is nuts.
It is because like most of the films we've done are low budgets, and you know it's kind of like that's fair enough. This is like one of the biggest superstars in the world, and like it's got like a reputation, but not a reputation like a bad film, just like a what was that?
So yeah, I don't know. Do you reckon I guess it's for women of the 80s?
I guess
I reckon you'd love it if you had nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like people rewatch it, like, oh, you gotta watch that. But I think but now if you watch, like, we've just watched it for the first time. It's like, what the hell was that?
Well, I think the movie has like a fun 80s quality to it in its soundtrack. It's like sweaty and cocaine ridden.
Yeah.
Like, it has like a quality to it. It's kind of charming in terms of the fact that it's like a bad 80s movie.
Yeah.
Like it's so aggressively 80s.
It is.
It doesn't have a 3-act structure. The plot makes no sense. He's an awful character. All the other characters are an awful character, and you're not satisfied with the ending. And he makes killer cocktails through it. And they go to Jamaica.
It made like $100 million?
Yeah, it did well.
God.
Yeah.
So, Carl, do you have a cheeky little palate cleanser?
Yeah, I ventured to the cinema and watched the new A24 film, Minari.
Ooh, how was it?
Minari's excellent, and it might be one of the best films of the year.
Best films of 2021?
Of 2020.
Yep,
yeah. It got negged at the Golden Globes because they're racist fucks.
Oh, that was bad, wasn't it?
Oh god, it is. So once you see the film, you're like, God, it's such and it is an American film. I'd say maybe 60 or 50% of the dialogue is like in another language.
Yeah.
But they're like an American family. It's all about the American dream. It's set in America. All the supporting cast is American. Yeah, the movie's like a harsh 2 hours and just crippled me.
And
just cried for the last 20 minutes. Cried a lot throughout it, actually. There's a part near the beginning where the family's fighting and the 2 kids go into their rooms and they make paper aeroplanes and they write "Don't fight" or "Stop fighting" on it.
Yeah.
And then they stand there and they throw them into the fight to try and get their parents to stop fighting. And I just started to cry. I was 10 minutes into the film. It's fucking beautiful. It's a movie without... You keep thinking it's going to have like a sinister turn or some more drama, and it never does. And it's just so wholesome and touching.
Yeah.
And about like just a harsh reality and just this family having to go through these trials and tribulations of being in America. It's so good. So good.
Where do you rank it in the A24 sort of?
I thought it was the 6th best they've done. Maybe more.
Which sounds bad, but it's probably like
I'm planning to see it again, so it could go up again. It's the most moved I've been by a film in a long time.
I feel like it's been a pretty dry spell this last year in terms of films that have like packed a punch.
Yeah.
As 2019 splooged everything. It's like, here's every bit of cinema.
Yeah. I was with a friend, and when it finished, he was worried I hadn't been crying, because he'd been crying. And he was like, I couldn't gauge how into the film you were, so I was really worried the lights were going to come up and you were just going to be like, would you fucking cry?
Oh, God.
And I was like,
shit.
And I was like, oh, because I shamed him once for crying in Coco.
That's fair enough. Coco's a weak one.
Oh, no, I cried in Coco. I just did it at a different screening so that I could shame him.
I need to... You watched it pre-cry, you bitch. Watching Coco twice to cover up your crying.
Oscar, what's your palate cleanser?
Well, Cole, I also watched a film. Wasn't much of a palate cleanser, though. I watched the 2001 What's the Worst That Could Happen? Starring Martin Lawrence and Danny DeVito.
Never heard of it. What is it?
I don't know why we watched it. It was sort of popped up. But you know when you're like in a group and you're like, let's watch a film? And then Martin Lawrence and Danny DeVito.
Never been in a group.
That's
Never
right.
been in a group situation.
You watch A24 films alone. I have friends.
I take one friend to an A24 film. I found the only other fucking hipster in Sydney, and I went, "We're gonna go to every A24 film. I hope you know that."
Martin Lawrence is a jewel thief, and Danny DeVito's rich, and Danny DeVito steals Martin Lawrence's ring, but Martin Lawrence steals everything Danny DeVito owns. How will these two figure it out?
Sounds
I don't know.
like Uncut Gems.
It's pretty much Uncut Gems, minus everything. I didn't finish it, so if you have finished this film, email us.
Better or worse than Cocktail?
So much worse.
Wow.
It's trying to be like, I don't know, when it's like a bad comedy, it really takes like a long time. It's like, it's fine, but it's not nice.
Yeah.
I think it came out the same like month as 9/11. I think it was like right around then. That's why it wasn't very popular.
God. Yikes.
Yeah, yikes. Bad film. Don't watch it. Yeah.
Next week we will be watching the Justice League, the Joss Whedon one.
Which one? Yeah, the 2017 one.
Yeah, the 2017 one, as part of our superhero movies theme.
Yes.
Which we'll be doing for all of whatever month that is. March?
Yes, March.
For all of March, bad superhero movies.
Very exciting. And if you don't want superhero movies, you can ask us or email us at askwwwtpodcast@gmail.com. You request a movie, you can just send us hate mail, love mail, neutral mail. You decide.
I want Anthrax. Send me Anthrax email.
Through email?
Yeah, through email. You know what? I want Page Me.
What's the... Oh, this is such a weird way to end it, but you know the Unabomber? It'd be kind of funny because this whole thing was like anti-technology if he was sending email bombs. Anyway, on that note...
Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.